Hello everybody, it's Jane here. Hello, from Jane's Gems. If you don't know me, I buy and sell costume jewellery. I upcycle and restore and repair lots of costume jewellery. In the process of making a video the other week, I was asked why I test hallmarked silver. So I thought I'd explain to you why. And also, while I'm doing that, go through a small job lot I picked up at our local auction house, which is supposed to contain some silver. So that gives us an opportunity to test things. This job lot cost me £12 plus auctioneer's commission of 25%, so £15 in total. There's only a few bits here, but it should be an opportunity to do some testing and for me to explain what I'm doing and why. So let's have a little look what we've got first of all. There we go. Right. We have got a Ben Sherman leather bangle. I'll look that up, see if Ben Sherman's worth anything, and that could just be sold as it is. Here we have a pair of costume earrings, quite pretty. Sorry, just take my glasses off. Pair of costume earrings. They've got some slight plating loss round here. Pin is bent. Let's see if there's... can't open that one because the pin's bent. We can straighten that out. Can we see a maker's name? There's something just there. Let's have a little look with the jeweller's loop. It says MA or WA. I'm not quite sure who that is. That's one to have a little look at. Do a little bit of research on, see who they're made by. Now, not thinking for a second that they're gold, but can you see that they're magnetic? There we go. Right, we'll look them up, see who MA or WA is. If you know, please leave a comment. And another pair, this is a good start, isn't it, of costume earrings. Quite vintage looking earrings somewhere. And again, just showing you, these will be magnetic, so not gold. So what metals are magnetic? Or more importantly, what metals are not magnetic? Gold and silver are not magnetic. So that's a good indication that if the magnet picks them up or it even moves towards the magnet, they're not gold. Also, though, aluminium, brass, copper, there's several metals that are not magnetic. But if it is magnetic, you know you definitely haven't got gold or silver. One thing that's always worth checking is the earring backs. In the UK, anything under a gram, I don't think has to be hallmarked. So it doesn't necessarily mean it is or it isn't gold if it's not hallmarked. So quick test, magnetic. So not a gold earring back, but people do muddle up their earring backs. I'm guilty of doing that myself. So always worth checking the earring backs. Next we have, oh, that's pretty. Now that looks like it's silver. Can't see, there's a little blank space there, but it's got no mark on it. Jeweller's loop, absolutely invaluable. Have a little look on this. It looks like silver. Sometimes I've seen the hallmarks tucked inside the bail, so always worth checking. And I've also seen them put on the edges of pieces of jewellery. So again, good check. It needs a really good clean, but that does look like silver, not hallmarked. So we'll set that one aside and we'll test that. Next we have a large box with a chain in it. Clasp is broken completely. Now, is that a silver chain? Not magnetic. This clasp is broken, but if that is magnetic, it's often because the inner springy bit, excuse my technical knowledge, the inner bit is sometimes metal. So check the chain. And it looks like silver, but just seeing. There it is. There is, I'm sure you won't get this on the camera, there is the tiniest 925 hallmark there. And it looks like silver. But again, because we're showing you some testing, we'll give that a little test in a moment. So that one goes on the testing pile. Nice little ring box here. And this little ring looks like silver. You just get a feel for what it looks like. It's very small. It would go on my little finger, but quite a small ring. Now I'd expect this. There it is. It's hallmarked 925. Just not sure if you'll get it. Just there. It's very bent out of shape, but we can put it on a ring sizer. I've got a metal ring sizer, and just give it a little tap and hopefully get it to look an awful lot better. So that's another one. We'll give that a test because we are. Not because that really does look like silver. Another pair of earrings with faux pearls. Oh, yeah, I don't know if you can see. It's got some grime in there, but it's also got some green verdigris and some wear. So costume jewellery, pretty yucky. Again, let's just have a quick. That back is not magnetic. Gut instinct is it's not gold. No, I'm not going to bother to test it because I can see just by the colour it's not gold, even though it's not magnetic. It's probably, I don't know, stainless steel, or yeah, probably stainless steel. Anyway, pretty pair of earrings. We'll have to give them a jolly good clean, but they've got some gunk on them and a little bit of verdigris. So nice boxes. So we'll give them a clean. Next we have, oh, that's pretty. This cross with wings. It's quite tarnished and scratched. It's marked quite clearly, don't even need a loop for that, 925 just there. It looks like it's silver. Let's have a little look at the chain as well. Clasp works. And it says 925 on this side, and on that side it says Italy. And it really does look like silver, but it needs a very good clean. I'm trying to save up for a Presidium gem tester, but they cost about £300. So this one may actually stay in my stash until I can afford one of those and get that tested. I assume it's an amethyst, but it might just be glass. And of course it has a big effect on the resale value, so it'd be nice to be able to get one of those. Right, we'll leave that aside for testing because we are doing testing today. And last but not least, I can't get this one out, we have some, oh, I like those, very pretty marcassite earrings. Get you out. Very pretty. They do look like they're going to be silver. I can't see any mark on them at all. And I can't see any mark on the hooks. Let's have a little test. Oh, right, the hooks are not silver. Not sure about these stars. Right, we'll have to give them a test. So, we've got a chain, a pendant, a ring, and these bits to test. Why do we test things? Why do I test things that are marked 925? Was a question that I was asked. And the answer is because some people put 95 marks on silver plates, and I have bought repeatedly. I buy earring hooks, ear wires in silver, and I pay for silver, and I've bought them from Amazon and different companies. And when you're paying a couple of pounds a hook, you expect them to be silver, and they're marked 925, and when you test them, they're not. They're silver plated with copper inside. I've been quite disappointed with some companies who seem to think it's okay to sell silver plate as sterling silver, and it's becoming an issue. There's quite a few YouTube videos mentioning it and talking about different things that people have bought that have been marked for silver. So sometimes silver is marked for silver and it's not, and sometimes things are unmarked and they are silver. And the only way to really know, some people just have an eye. Some people can pick it up, feel it, sense it, and know it's silver. But on the whole, the only way to really know is to acid test it with a silver test and one of these stones. And the way you do this is you give your piece a really good scratch. That one there. Give it a really good scratch. Sometimes you can actually see that if it's silver plated, you can actually see a copper colour in here or a brassy colour in here. So obviously not wasting your acid on that. That one's scratched quite nicely. So let's give them all a little scratch and see where we are. That one scratched quite nicely. Quite optimistic about that one. Obviously the ring we are really expecting to be silver. This little bit of chain. I've got several bits of broken chain, so it might be that I can... This is so thin, it's hard to scratch. There you go, that's the chain. I line these up in order so that I remember which one I've done. You know what? I don't quite like the colour of that so much. Hopefully it's silver. Okay, there we go. Right, and then just a little drop of acid. This acid is a dark orangey yellow colour, and when it comes in contact with silver, it should turn red. So we give it a few moments. I don't know if you can see. I'm not sure if you can see any colour changes on that at all. So, easiest way to show you is to use a bit of white tissue paper, and of course I've got kitchen roll here. So the first one is, can you see? Red. I don't know if you can see that. That's gone red. Second one is the earrings. Not at all. No colour change at all. That's disappointing because I really thought they were silver. Third one is the ring. We're really expecting that to be silver. And you see the red there coming through. Fourth one is that little broken chain. You see the red there? That's silver. Fifth one is this cross. And actually, the colour of the scratch is not that good. It's yellow. That is not good. And the chain is silver. So we've got silver, not silver, silver, silver. That's saying it's not silver, and that is hallmarked quite clearly 925. And the chain is silver, or the clasp is silver. So I think what we better do it really did not have a good colour scratch, but it's very clearly hallmarked. So let's just, I'm going to give this another scratch, and I'm going to test the chain as well, because just because the clasp it doesn't mean. Now this is the, I think I tested. If you look at the colour of this, still not a good colour. Look at that, still not a good colour. Then, and we'll get a little bit of the chain. It's a very coppery colour. Quite sure that is not silver. Well, it goes to show this is why you test it. I'm shocked that that is coming up as not silver. Let's see if I can get this chain to scratch. Okay, can you see the difference in the colour there? That is the cross, and it's very coppery colour, and that is the chain, and it's very white silvery colour. Let's do another test on those. Sorry, it came out with a little bit of a air bubble. giving it a few moments. So this is the cross, not silver. And I'm only using this paper so that you can actually see the colour change. And that's the chain. Can you see? Pinky red. There you go. So that is a silver chain with a nice looking cross that looks like it's silver. It's hallmarked for silver, and it's not. But we have got several bits of silver. We have this, which is quite nice. The ring, which we can straighten out. And this, which either I'll find another clasp for or will go into scraps. These earrings, surprisingly not silver, but they're absolutely lovely. So what I'll do is I'll swap them onto new fresh hooks, and those will probably go into my personal collection because I think they're really nice. So, bit of a disappointment. You know, that really came across as the star of the show, and it's a bit of a disappointment. But that's why we test it. I wouldn't want to sell that on to one of my customers and then them find out that I'd sold them a fake. So that explains why we test silver. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye now. Bye bye.